Hey guys, this is Nique, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And today we're exploring the idea of not making excuses for adults who aren't doing their own work. So this can be referred to as kind of like the perpetual freshman syndrome. I feel like all of us has probably met, if you are not them, an adult who like it feels like they are always the perpetual victim or to circumstances and everything is happening to them and they just need you to give grace, 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 but they never actually do anything with that damn grace that you give them. We're talking about those people who it's like, you cool, but you're still at the same spot you were when I met you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when we was in
Mm,
middle school. You have not developed, whether that's emotionally, socially, whatever, at all. And sometimes when we have those burns, especially for people that like we love or people who's just like a regular part of our lives, it feels like we kind of have to bring them along on the road with us. And for a lot of us, it just slows us down. Neat, what you think about the perpetual freshman syndrome?
I think this is something that I struggle with. I don't know if it's because I'm just like a caring person in general. Because I was laughing at myself. I don't know. I'd be laughing because I'm like, is that the Pisces in me? Because I can make
Girl.
anybody be like, he's not that bad or she's not that bad. It could be friends. It could be a man. It could be a job. But listen, I just look at the good and don't look at any of the bad. And I can just cuss them in like,
Yeah.
you've seen it. You've seen it.
I know. I know. I tell you
I'm
all the
like,
time. It terrifies me because my baby girl got a Pisces stellium. And she's well, and she had like a little issue with some kids at school. And you know me. And I was like, you want mommy to come fight them? She's like, no, mommy. And she's like, they didn't mean to. They don't even know they're being mean. And I was like, girl, neither one of your parents is peace and light and love. Like, what
yes.
that's for that damn Pisces stellium.
It is, and it just yeah, it is. That's why sometimes I'm like, no, like if I see a guy, I'm like, if I see a red flag, I have to stop really, really fast because I start seeing overdose and just thinking of all the good in that person.
Potential.
And yes, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything bad. So
I
it's
know.
like,
I know.
even
I
with friends,
know.
I'm like, well, she probably treated me like that because it is. And I actually know, like, you don't allow that to happen. So this is something. I mean, I'm better than I was, but I know my flaws when it comes to that. And like you said, I definitely feel like it's something that hold you back.
Yeah. Well, because I wish I explained it better the first round. Like these are those build a person people. But it's build a man, build a friend. It's like I have to put so much effort into you if I want to be around you. And I won't
Mhm.
lie, this I will say once I love a person, because this is has happened to me, it is harder for me when I love you. And it's why I've always said, like, I'm very selective about who I make my friends because I know once I see you as a friend, like, whatever I can do, I want to do. I want to be there. I want to help. But sometimes it can be really, really draining. And I definitely have had circumstances. I've had this happen once in a relationship. And I've also had this happen with friends where it's like, that's not how they started off. Like, we both started off like same level of doing work, same, the same places. And just over time, it's like, as I'm like, oh, I have to change. I have to like grow. I have to do some things differently. I have to better myself. And then you kind of look over and realize, oh, you're not, you're not doing it. Okay. Okay, cool, cool, cool. It's fine. You need time. So you give grace and you give more grace. And then at some point you recognize like you ain't even doing nothing with this grace.
And
It looks like you're like, oh, give me grace because I need more time to catch up. Cause I'm life is hard. It's no, you are doing nothing with the grace at all. And
Mhm.
so now us interacting with one another feels like, going back to that school reference, like when you're on a team project and you got that one person not doing their part, but the other five members did their part, you feel obligated to just, okay, because it affects all of us, I'll just do their part for them. Because I'm not gonna feel because you because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. But imagine that as like a whole entire relationship and how draining it feels. Cause like how many times do I have to cover your part?
Mhm. And then once you continue to do it, I feel like sometimes you think in your head like, "Well, we got this far. We got so much time in this." Like a project. Like I put so much work in this. I can't just give up. I gotta do their part too. Like a relationship, like we've been invested too long. I can't go back.
Yep.
So yeah, it definitely is a crutch for both of y'all, and then not a good
Yeah.
one. So
Lord, don't the way that that in a relationship can so easily end up in codependency. And here's the thing
Mhm.
about codependency. If you aren't the person who's the needy one, it sometimes take you a minute to recognize that, oh, we are codependent on each other. Because a lot of times when we're talking about codependency, you think about the needy person that's always there, that's always drinking, that's blah, 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 blah. And if I started out and we were different and it started out cool and I love you and I'm doing all this stuff, also come on my nurses, my therapists, my social workers, my counselors, my teachers, my people in helping people's professions. You're used to being the go-to person. You're used to just seeing something needs to be done. It ain't your
Mhm.
responsibility, but being like, it got to get done. Let me do it. So it does not feel outside of your norm.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, by the
Right.
time you recognize, like, hold on, sometimes it take other people. I remember I had somebody point out to me, like, there was somebody I was friends with who was just going through a really, really hard time. And like, it was legit a hard time. They legit, like, I don't know what voodoo woman he done pissed off, but like, it was thing after thing after thing after thing after thing with him. And it was big things. And so when it felt like he just allowed himself to be emotionally stuck, it was like, yeah, but you're going through so much and you're trying because at least you're going to the therapy and this and that. But they just kept making the same decisions.
Mhm.
Very dangerous, stupid ass decisions. And I felt so responsible for them
Mhm.
because it
Mhm.
became to a point where I was like, but I'm the only person they really got. And that is such a dangerous world to be in with somebody who does not like to do their part.
That is. They'll definitely lean on you. And like you said, it can be codependent, but it doesn't seem codependent first because you just kind of blame it on them. But then for me, I think I was getting like a rise out of being needed, I guess.
Mm.
So that's still a codependency.
Yeah.
Like, well, they need me. They need me. And then like even when they'll try to like see if I'm okay or check on me, I'm thinking in my head, that's not your role. Like, I'm gonna run we're not talking about that right now. We're not talking about that. What do you need? And it's not healthy at all because then I have resentment. Me personally, I'll have resentment after we went through all these things and
Mhm.
I put myself in a situation and you don't really know. Like you said, it's harder to the other person to know it's still some type of codependency.
Yeah.
And then so you step back and maybe look at it. They
Yeah.
just wake up one day like, what are we doing here?
What the hell
Yeah.
are we doing here? It is. Again, when somebody point out to me, like at first I was like, no, it's not. Because I don't need them. I don't and listeners, y'all don't know. But like also I tried to escape this person several times. Like there was times where I was just like, yo, I need a break. And they would just pop up at my house.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
pop up at my house. They would blow my phone up nonstop. They would show up with food, and I'm a sucker. This men showing up with food. As big back as that is, I'm like, "Man, I guess we can talk." Um, like, and so but also that was one of the things that also made me realize, like, oh, this is codependency because even when I need a break, you act like you can't function.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not, no,
And
I'm
it's
mad at you, I need a break. It's not, no, we're angry. It's just like, hey, I'm a little exhausted. I just, let's go hang with other people. Let's go hang with our other friends. Let's go touch grass. But like you touch grass over there and let me touch grass over here. And
mhm.
the way that they would react, and I had to like think back, like, you know what? My homegirl was right. I think I somehow allow this to slip into codependency.
Yeah. Cause even I was like, "It's not your natural personality. You acting like me, like, what are
Man,
you doing here?
look, you weren't the
What
only
are we
one.
doing
Several
here?"
people were like, yeah, they're like, "It's not you.
It's not your thing at all.
Look, and you guys know I've said this on podcasts lots of times. Balancing healing and
Mhm.
I can't say who I'm naturally because I'm not naturally trauma, but like balancing healing and like some things about my personality that was created out of trauma. It has been hard. It has been hard. You know, there's certain things that I know now steadfast. There's other
Mhm.
things where it's like, ooh, you know, I've admitted this on the show lots of times. Like, I'm an amazing communicator. I know how to communicate. I will choose when I want to, though. I will choose when I
Yeah.
want to utilize those skills. And that was something like I had to really, really work on because, and you know what, Nick, you actually helped me with that because I remember we were on this topic somehow, and I was like, "All right, well, they grown. Leave them with a foot they stand and going about your life. I don't understand why you need to explain it." And you
Mhm.
had related it to a situation that she was going through, and you're like, "I'm still trying to figure out what happened in that situation because it hurts me that like they did not tell me. It hurts me. They don't want to talk to me about it. It hurts me." And to which I responded like, "Well, it annoys me when they keep bothering me." And I made it very like I obviously I don't want to talk to you. But stuff like that, it's hard for me to balance out because on one hand, I'm like, well, no, there is certain boundaries I need to have. And there are certain situations where like we don't need to get into the deep of this. You know exactly what the fuck you did. And
Mhm.
we're not, but I'm not going to give you this chance to try to manipulate the situation and talk your way out of it or lessen it. I I feel how I feel
Yeah.
and I
But
want to
yeah.
be done.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know you wanna be done, but I don't know, like, I don't know. I think the people that was irritating you is more like my personality, but I'm not about to beg or nothing like that. But I feel like you in a sense, you could still be done if you cared about the person too, but you still wanna be done with them. You did this and this and this. I'm not talking anymore. Like, I don't know. I think sometimes people wanna know. I'm not gonna I don't know about Roberto. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
I told you, you've been helping me with that because you're like, no, for it's like really important for some people to know. And for me, like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah, I know.
I really, and
But a
honestly,
lot
but
of my
like,
friends are like that.
it's not even on some like, oh, I'm so cool. Like, my ego, like oh, you want to talk to me? My ego will be like, bet,
Mhm,
bet. I will never talk to you again.
yeah, yeah, and I'm getting more like that now. It's just like it rolled off my back. Like it just is what it is. It is what it is. Sister, brother, anybody. It is what it is.
Look, I already had
Yeah,
a
man.
situation before where we were in like a years long, multiple years long, who could give a fuck less contest. And like the good news is that I was winning. The bad news, that shit was killing me. Like that shit really was like breaking my fucking heart. But I was
Mhm.
but the principle,
Yeah.
but the fucking principle. So no, you're right. You are right. There, I do understand why for some people it's like I need to know so I can do better. I need to know if it's a mistake. I need to know so if it's something that I can fix. Um, but I guess for me, the struggle is like, no, because I made a my decision. I don't want you to fix it. If I wanted you to fix it, I would have talked to you about it. If I
Mhm.
wanted to see if you could do it another way, I would have talked to you about it. I have already decided. And I know I got to stop that because I'm very much like that when it comes to romance, where I'm like, I don't, breaking up with you is not a two-way. I decided I don't want to be. I don't need to have your input on me not wanting to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the breaking up, yeah, but I'm still, you know
I
me.
know, because 'cause y'all have, like, having whole conversations. You're like, "Let me talk
I'm
to
still
him
telling my part.
about
Like,
why I don't wanna be with him. Let me tell this man for 2 hours why I don't wanna
but the
be with
last
him."
time I was like, "There's nothing to talk about." I felt so liberated. So,
Look, man, I'd be like, "Let that man decode the songs in my Instagram story." That's as much communication as he's getting.
I remember, at this thing, it used to be me. It's so funny because, like, back in, like, it ain't been me since, like, high school, college. But, like, you remember I used to put, like, the songs on the Insta machine?
Yeah.
My little mischievous, but like if I hurt them, I would call their phone like they got that serious. So
I had it
well,
too.
you feel it. But you feel it. You feel it. You and your
Listen,
feelings over there.
let
I'm
me
sure you
tell
laughing,
you,
like listening to her, like just cracking up, like
girl.
like you know what I
I, so if you listen to the show for a long time, you know that I'm a pastor's kid. Like I'm a pastor's kid. Y'all know what that means. And so like I one time was going through a breakup, and this was like my first little puppy love, right? And I had put on my Emma, I think his name was Emma. Look what you said, I don't want you back. And then after, if I let it fade out, and I was like, I put on my sexy voice. I was like, hey, this is Russ. I'm not here right now. You can leave me a message. And my dad called him, what the fuck is that? And again, my parents love grounding me. I didn't do shit.
That's the
I was
thing.
always grounded.
And that is the thing that I never thought about. Like, why did we not care if our parents called us? 'Cause we were born.
Oh my God. That would be a very long voice message, like, and put your phone on the kitchen counter when you get home. Since we got things to say that are unholy.
Girl, I was
Because
always
my parents were my parents, I used to take the
yeah.
battery out and take out the SIM card and then give them the phone. But yeah, you got my phone. Y'all not going through shit.
I don't do it at all. But it's funny, I was always the like little emotional Afrocentric girl because I might have been India I ain't ready for love. Like F you don't love me. So I just put on my thing. All right.
Look, I one time had
Like,
Cameron, girls just want to have fun after a breakup. I was put on Dipset and shit. Like, so
oh my
I think that's
goodness.
why. You know how in the pandemic we had the verses?
Mm-hmm.
So we had the verses. I remember Tree was like, "Who you got?" I think it was who was it? Monica versus Keisha Cole. She was like,
Monica and Brandy, I think.
I don't think it was Ashanti.
Okay.
So it was the Keisha Cole versus Ashanti one. And my friend Treva had hit me up and she was like, "Oh, you gonna watch the verses? You know, who you got? Who you got?" She was like, Keisha Cole, my girl, she got me through. All my heartbreaks and all of that. I was like, girl, I was put on Jadakiss. I don't know. I don't know. I don't got anybody. She was like, no, because who got the best? Like, I'm over it. Breakup. I was like, girl, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was
I
just in the
could get up
G
there.
unit. Like, that's how I was getting through breakup.
You was always a thug. Oh my goodness. Always a thug.
The emotional thing. I know.
Girl.
We off track.
Okay, yes, let's get back on. Okay.
So, all right. So, but like while we're talking about this, and we were talking about like that codependency piece. The thing that kills me with the when you end up like in these codependent, whether it's friendships, relationships, is like it tends to involve a level of like weaponized incompetence, right? So when I'm saying weaponized incompetence, what I'm saying is people who play like they don't know what to do so they can get out of actually doing the work, right? This is like when you ask your dude to like vacuum the living room before you get home, and then you come home and it's not vacuumed, and he goes, "Yeah, I don't know. It was rattling and making some noise." So I was like, "Ah, nah, she gonna be mad if I mess it up." And then you go and be like, "Yeah, there was a paper clip stuck in it. Did you think to take the paper clip out?" "Oh no, I just know I heard they'll say all stuff to try to cover, like, "Oh, I'm so dumb. I didn't know. That's why I need your help." And like for me, that is the worst version of it. I
Yes.
hate
Yes.
when people weaponize the confidence.
Yes. Yes. It's like, oh, they have and it just like that, like I think that's the biggest pet peeve that just frustrates me. And I think even more because now my love language is acts of service and I'm just depleted all the time. If I give you a freaking task, you don't do it. What are you here for?
I told y'all, Nique like to treat her man like she ain't mama. That was a mama voice.
What are you here for? And I'm not just saying that's the only thing you're here for. But I mean, if you're here, can you do something? Can you do
Can you be
something?
handy?
Yes, yes. If you start being handy, I'll start trying to cook, I don't even know how to what.
Look,
So, yeah, it definitely is a pet peeve, and it's just like it is like the leaning on you to get stuff. It gets so tiring and so draining.
it does. Well, and again, like going back to like even outside of relationships, friendships, like I had a friendship last year that took up a lot of my energy where they did this a lot. They did a lot of weaponized incompetence. It was like reflection and accountability was too hard. I'm too broken. There's so much is happening. It's too much for me right now because I'm so fragile.
Mhm.
And because I care for them and I'm like, this is my friend, I'm all that this person has, really wanting to be like, okay, well, they are going through that. Oh, they are. And then I was like, recognizing like for me, what it is, like they were talking to me about therapy and what they're learning and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, so you know what to do. You're just not doing it. I said, I just told you what to do. I've been there with you what to do. Oh, and then the big thing is I saw them doing it when they needed to. I saw they had a situation that happened where they really need to get themselves together for. And when that situation happened, oh, they got themselves together quick.
Mhm.
They held it together all the way until that thing was done. And then immediately fell back apart. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you know what the fuck you're doing.
And they know that they can depend on you. Like, they know that they're just gonna take care of it, so I don't have to do much of anything at all. Or even if it's like the emotional dumping, so you can figure out the situation and they don't have to figure out, you can figure out and just tell them what to do. Like, even that, like, they don't even try to put the puzzle pieces back together.
No, I call it emotional scamming
Yeah. Yeah.
because you play it on like, I don't know how to do this thing, blah, blah, blah. And it's all just to get what you need from other people.
Mhm.
And then you
Mhm.
roll the dice and play it just like that with someone else.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I think about with this, and like not so much of like, yeah, no, it counts for adults not doing their work. I'm thinking of like, particularly in families, when you have certain people in your family that are just nasty and everybody just, but that's how they are. That's just how they are. And it's like, why do the rest of us have to learn how to tiptoe around their feelings instead of them learning how to be an adult and properly process and handle their feelings?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Everybody else, like I know in my family, we definitely have this. We definitely have certain people where it's just like, well, you can't expect too much for them. That's why you got to that's why you got to help them take care of them. Excuse me?
That's just their personality. No. It's because you made them. I don't think that we take accountability for the parts that we have that we help them
Yeah.
to stay that way. Like, especially with families. Definitely we help them to stay that way.
Oh yeah.
So we all come together and say, we're gonna do this. And we just never stop.
Yeah. Well, I think about
That's
like the
right.
movie Baby Boy is such a good example of that.
Yes. Yes.
And I think the concept of Baby Boy, I was watching a TikTok the other day where it was actually another podcast and they were trying to like explain to like one of the members was like, oh, I've never seen the movie. And they were like trying to explain to him. They're like, so when somebody says baby boy, what they're referring to is a grown ass man who is an adolescent at mine.
Yes. Mhm.
And a lot of that times, again, it is learning confidence. A lot of time, again, it is kind of emotional entrapment. It is a lot of, think about how Jody was with Edith, right? I know I'm not supposed to be out here doing this. I know I'm not supposed to be, but I'm gonna kiss up on, I'm gonna hug you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
And girl, I'm just laughing because that was my high school boyfriend's favorite movie. And of course it would be. I was
Are you
watch that
talking about my
movie.
cousin?
Yes, I am.
I was what you talking about, and you just be like, yeah, this random guy, who was my high school
Girl,
sweetheart,
I'm
my
like, boy,
cousin.
that would be your favorite movie. Every time I was over there, sneaked over there. That's what we watched. The kid, I'm not just scared. That's the wrong thing for you to be watching, sir, because it took over your whole life.
Look, I am a believer though, like you can tell a lot about people by things like that, like your favorite song or your
Mhm.
favorite movie.
Mhm.
Um, because like what you mean, your favorite movie is about this grown ass man who women keep letting him bullshit them and it works out for him in the end. What you mean?
Yes.
What you
And that
see,
mama
this is
remind me of
not
his mama too. I ain't gonna
uh,
lie. That mama remind me of his mama too. I ain't
yeah,
gonna
that's
lie.
fine too. That's my auntie. Matter of fact, they dress alike.
Right.
That style is
Right.
her.
Boy, you say me like he's working a little yes.
That's the whole style is her. You right. You right.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, but I think it's no. But see, that's why I be lying to these men and tell them my favorite movie is Gone Girl. Like I just like I want you to know about that. Not it's not my favorite movie. I always get a kick out of saying that because you can tell they just look at you like. "Mm." And then I'm
I
always
just
curious
was
about
like
the
that
ones that
now.
want to proceed afterwards. So I was like, you like danger.
You know, just a little.
Oh gosh. All right. And here's the thing with the whole like weaponize the confidence part when we're talking about a person who like never grows, right? Their whole thing, their whole game, their whole stick is relying on somebody else doing the work for them. The whole thing is about having somebody else carry their load. That's the whole purpose of weaponized incompetence. And so like it's not just this little annoying thing. It's not just this like, okay, now I'm doing work, but like you are doing them a disservice.
Mhm.
Again, going back to my situation, like one of the things that made it really hard for me to walk away from this person, even though I will try to actually several times. You're right, that's not like me.
It wasn't. That's why I was so confused.
Yeah, I don't know. Last year was a weird year for me though. Last year was a really weird year for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like with that, one of the things that made it hard was like I was like, "But damn, what they gonna do without me?" Like I really don't know if they're gonna be able to function okay. Like I
Yeah.
really don't know. Like I was really concerned. Like how I know this 37-year-old doesn't know how to be an adult, and I don't know if this 37-year-old is gonna make it without me. Like I legit in my head was concerned, are they gonna make it without me?
Mhm.
And they're perfectly fine. You know why? Because they ass know what the fuck they do.
Exactly. And there's some benefit that came from it.
Mhm.
And then speaking of benefits, it also can look like, oh, this friend can take care of it. So you become like the therapist, the free therapist with no money.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
everybody's coming to you to fix all these problems, and then you give them the tools to do it, and they never quite use the tools, but then you just come back for more tools or just a vent to get some great advice, but never doing the work in the back end. And it just
Yeah.
becomes like draining, especially like you were saying, like you as nurses, as social work, as therapists, like
Yeah.
we're always going to put the pieces back together. But is that really, really beneficial to your friend, your family members, your mate? Is that benefiting them in any type of way? No, it's draining them to just become like the quote unquote therapist.
Yeah. Especially when you like, and this is me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I love to look up some stuff. Like, not only do you become the therapist, you become the researcher, you become the case manager,
I was
you
about to
become
say
the
that.
one.
The
Look,
case manager, because you got
look,
it.
I was
And
a
I
therapist, a
know.
case manager, a mother. I ain't birthed this person.
And speaking of case management, it's like they really are like your clients because they never want to take the resources, or they just want you to sign them up for take them inside of the resources. I get enough of this at work. Like I cannot be a social worker and have to do that too. Like I can't. Like I'm starting to realize that I can't have my job at home anymore in any type of way, any type of friendship, relationship,
Yeah.
families. I can't. I
No.
can't. I can still be there for, I'm not saying I can't be there for anybody, but when it gets overboard like this, where
Yeah.
it's like I have to take on the emotional load and figure it out and give you the
Yeah.
resources that you don't use, it's draining.
And like the thing with it here though is going back to that title, like you find yourself making excuse for those folks, right? Because
Mhm.
you're kind of like, well, I know one of the things I get into sometimes, especially when it comes to things like that, like resources. I'm like, well, they're not social workers. They don't really know that Atlanta has all these things available to them. And so like that makes sense. And like just giving excuses. And it's like, yeah, and you know what? But they're really busy and they have a lot. Like when I love you, I am like caretaker. I completely like want to make sure you're good. I like anticipating needs when I love people. That is platonic, that is romantic, that is kinship. And it can be real, real easy to be like, you know, but they just got a lot on their plate. But baby, you got a lot on your plate too. And you
Mhm.
managed to do it for you, and you're gonna do it for them.
Mhm.
And you do this for your child, and you do
Yeah,
this for your partner. Why can't they handle doing it for them?
exactly.
And sometimes, like, doing the work for them isn't as clear cut as that, right? So we have talked about examples that I think are like easier to kind of pick up on, which is just like, oh, I'm your therapist, or I'm literally the person that's like sending you jobs on Indeed. Like, okay, just apply to this. I edited your resume. It's real easy to pick on stuff like that and go, okay, I'm doing too much. I'm giving them excuses. But I think the one that's harder is like kind of when we're just talking about like emotional growth or like maturity. And I feel like this is that like you still spending recklessly, making very big impulsive decisions, putting yourself and others at risk. You too old for me to tell you to stop doing that. And you too old for me to have to keep being the one to help bury you out of that.
Yeah.
Those are ones I think is harder because sometimes it can feel like, oh, this is me judging their personal choice. Oh, this is me. But it's like,
They're
it can
bringing
be hard.
everybody else in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even
Maturity.
like, yes, and even like with our families are like in, I guess, the Black community. Like it could be that same person, like, I don't want to get a job, and then just going to go bum and live with a friend. Like you're just taking the all this energy because you know I'm not
Yeah.
going to allow you to leave, and not even inputting into my household. But like this is just, yeah, it can get overwhelming for everybody. It's not just affecting them at that point. Because half the time we ain't gonna let our people just live on the street. Like,
Yeah.
we take in and we do what we need to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
No, I love that you said that because, oh, you said that. And I was like, oh, yes. People came in mind. People came to mind.
yeah,
Or like,
yeah.
you can't
Yeah, even
keep,
with me, people come in line. Like, you
girl.
live up, living off girlfriends, living off, yeah, yeah. So,
Just, like, oh, but or oh, she just don't really like working. And I don't like working either. I can't stand this fucking job.
exactly. And I don't want to come home and want a hot box with you because I'm pissed that you taking up all my energy. And I
I
have to work
want to
on
stay
it.
home and smoke on the patio all day. Why you get to stay home and smoke on the patio all day?
Yes.
And every 3 weeks, I get a text asking if I can send you $100. Let me sit on a patio and get a couple $100.
Yes. So when it's not just affecting them, it's plenty of examples where it's affecting the majority. It's affecting everybody. And they don't care sometimes. And you
Dude.
gotta let them do that. Like you gotta let them feel the burn. You gotta let them go through everything to figure that out. But it's hard.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, like, okay, let's talk about this in terms of like the economy, right? Every
Mm.
time you excuse someone's lack of growth, all you're doing essentially is raising the excuse inflation rate. So now suddenly that behavior feels normal. Just like now, $2.89 gas. It has been that way for like a couple months, but might feel normal. But it's like, yeah, it feels normal now. But when we was in high school, it used to be one something.
Mhm.
And once they
Yeah.
raised it, they never took it back down that low ever again.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it's the same thing with excuses with these folks. Once you keep letting them raise it and get away with things after a certain while, trying to talk them back down to like trying to talk them into doing the growth, doing the journey, doing the work that you have been doing for them seems crazy. Because why? But I don't even know how. Now I'm so behind. Once you let it get to a certain point, once you let it rise to a certain point, it is one hell of a task to try to get that back down if you even can.
Mhm. Mhm. Then sometimes you can start giving them like excuses like, oh, he had a rough childhood and that turns to oh, well, it's just a bad morning today. Or they're this is all because of Mercury's in retrograde. And I have used that before for people. But it's
That's
just like
how Pluto square Mars right now, and I personally believe that is why I have been aggressive all week. So we gonna let that one
same
slide.
aggressive. I feel like we be having the same wavelength every time. It's like
No,
psychic.
but you know what? Don't get mad when I say this. I was the other day because remember I was like, oh, usually they say if your life has like the same patterns around the same time, you're right. You guys have the same rising sign. And so we're like, oh, maybe me and you both have the same rising sign since our life seems to always mirrors each other. But then I thought about it. I'm a Capricorn rising. Like Capricorn risings like work and are like very like go, go, go. And I was like, that's not Nique. Nique ain't no damn Capricorn rising. Nique want a nap now. Nique want
Yeah.
a nap. Nique would like to stop and take a nap now, please.
If I feel a nap coming on, I'm stopping and doing it. Okay, I need at least 30. I'm never, because
Look,
you
and you
going
know
to
me,
make
my
sure you
ass
get it
was
done.
sleep deprived myself because I'm like, no, I got to get this done. I have to get it done this
Yes,
way.
and I wish I had that. I wish I had that in me, but it's not. I'm really forced
You
it.
give me some of yours, I will give you some of mine.
Yes, you need to take some naps sometimes.
I need to take some naps. I just need to take
Yes,
some naps.
yes, yes.
But no, you are so right with that because it can real easily slip from one thing to another. So I'll use a different example. Because I had this happen in a relationship before where it was like, well, he didn't have the same start as me. I had two college educated parents. All three of my parents got at least 3 degrees. And so I had people that knew what I needed to do to go to college. I had people that knew how to set things up. I had people that like literally since I was a kid guided me way. He didn't have that in his life. And so that's why this is so hard for him. I had a head start. I had people that made sure I was good, led me on the right path. They knew what to do. He didn't have that. But then that quickly turned into, okay, well, you know what? But he ends still working at one job. And even though it pays absolutely nothing, it has no room of growth. You cannot do anything with it. He works so hard there. He just be tired. He just be tired. Like I was not going to school and working a horrible job as well and was tired, but was like, you know what? I need to advance. This is not enough for me. I need to be able to do something else. And that went from like, oh, well, because he had ended up losing his job because of laziness. And so they like weren't working and I was sending them jobs that were like good jobs. I had a coworker who they had I had a coworker who had her husband worked, I think it was Comcast. But anyways, they had like a decent starting salary job, right? And I was like, oh. And she was like, yo, my husband's a supervisor. Just tell me what his name is. And when he gets the resume, I'll let him know. Do you know this man did not send his resume in? Like I literally was like, hey, there's you have the job. It closes on Friday. Today is like Monday. Just send it in. And then when I was like, why didn't you submit it in? They were like, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that type of job. Nigga, you don't have a job. You need
Exactly.
to do any job.
Exactly. And that's the frustrating part. And that's the
You don't have to
yeah.
stay there forever, but like you need to pay your bills.
And why doesn't that like why doesn't that
Why? And again, because
the
at
math
first
isn't
for me,
mathing?
when the job loss happened, I was like, well, I just needs a break. And he was making sloppy decisions. And because that's the only way he knew how to get a break. And then when that job thing came and he was just like, no, I was like, Okay, no, you're purposely doing this. You're purposely doing this. Sir, I will let you be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
I will let you be homeless if you are actively choosing to make our lives hard.
Yeah, you can do that on your own. On your own. Yeah.
I forgot where I was originally going with that. Sorry, my thing turned
Mhm.
off. But so like, yeah, it can just easily escalate from a little thing. Yeah, these excuses grow. These excuses grow. It's no longer okay. He had a bad childhood. It's no longer he's having a rough morning. That shit just keeps escalating, escalating, and that's how he ends up. That's just how he is, person or she.
Yeah.
So, I mean, essentially, what we're saying is you normalize dysfunction when you keep lowering your bar. That's how dysfunction becomes a regular part of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we're talking about this, and we're saying, okay, well, how do I know if this is happening? If I am making excuses for a grown person who just is refusing to do their own work, first thing first is I say, do the reciprocity check in. Ask yourself, does who's doing most of the emotional labor here? Okay, so I do a lot of self-reflecting. Do they do any self-reflecting? If they give me a criticism, I go, okay, well, let me see if that's valid. And let me see if there's things I have to
Mhm.
change. Do they ever do the same thing back? Or does it immediately become an excuse and a reason why and why we should touch on that and how they can't change? Do they apologize? Do they adjust for other do they adjust to make sure they're not the only ones comfortable?
Mhm. Mhm. And does it yeah, and does the relationships need to be equal,
Mhm,
equal investment on both ends. If you're the only one, like, changing or auditing yourself to fit into this person's box and they're not doing anything on the other side of that or they're not putting in their part, you have to, like, sit there and question, like, I may be doing this. I may be making excuses for this grown ass person.
yeah,
Yeah, I may be making excuses. It's just like the check-in really does help.
it does, and then also, like, change your verbiage around it. I don't think people recognize how powerful words are. Um, this is something I practice all the time. In fact, I feel like I've been saying it to you a lot via my 8-minute long voice messages of just like, "Ooh, I gotta be careful what I say because I be saying shit and then it just happens." I'm a big believer words are spells, words can make things happen. So, like, stop calling bullshit love what it really is you babysitting an adult's emotional development. Because after a while, you start believing that you sacrificing yourself is love.
Mhm.
Be careful with your words. Words
Mhm.
mean things.
Yeah, big things, yeah.
And like, here's the thing about it. Growth is a choice, right? It's not a miracle, which means they can choose to do it. It is an option that is available for him. It wasn't that you were just blessed with growth and you were one of the lucky ones. Growth is an option for every single one of us. A lot of us got trauma. A lot of us got baggage. But some of us actually decided to do the work of unpacking our baggage, while others are living and lugging around their package like they live at the airport.
Mhm. I think this is it's funny because I think I always be telling you, "But this, but that." You like, "Girl, this grown-ass man, he can unpack that stuff. Like, he can do what he need to do." You don't need to give him no freaking excuse. I'm like, "But he went through this," and I do give those excuses. I do give those excuses, but then it's just like, nobody's giving excuses for me. So you have to think about, like, is it a one-sided thing for sure? Because nobody's giving me excuses and grace for any of the things I do. So it's just like, you have to look on both sides and see, I'm like, I'm not getting that grace back in return.
Yeah.
So I just laugh because I definitely think of all the times you be telling me that, like, okay, but this happened, correct? Okay, Johnny, it doesn't matter.
He been through crowded, that's not your responsibility.
Right.
The man is 42. That is not
Yeah,
your responsibility.
I didn't figure this one out.
Oh my gosh, yes. And here, I mean, and again, like it's funny and it's cool and it's easy to point. Not cool. It's not cool because words mean things. But it's easy to point it out. I think it's easier to point it out in love. But like even the same thing, like love, family, history, that does not entitle people to get to bypass work when it comes to you. And I think sometimes, like, especially that
Mhm.
history part, because for some of us, it's like, but when I was going through, they were there for me. Okay, but when you were going through, did you try to help yourself? We're allowed to have moments where it's like, I do need you to carry me. I'm sorry, I am weak. That's okay. That's human. But if that's your entire friendship, relationship, history, that's a whole different thing.
Mhm.
Okay, they were there for you. You've been there for them. But at what point do we acknowledge that you're not doing anything with this help?
Yeah.
And as much as we like to feel like healing is contagious, the thing is, yes, you can do your work and you can inspire people, but you can't catch growth for them. It is something that they have to catch for themselves. And love isn't supposed to feel like dragging someone through their own healing. If they refuse to pick up the mirror, stop breaking your back holding it up for them. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very glad we're not doing an audio one because I can like record in my bonnet.
Yeah.
No bra on, big T, bonnet, pimple patches.
Yes. Yeah, my hair's a mess. Yeah.
But other times you will do things that I'm like, they have to know how funny you are. They have to see because you be being quiet, but you be in the background cutting up.
I do. Yeah. I gotta look decent one time so we can work.
Back on here. Well, guys, that is all we have for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed. You guys know it's fall time, so we are back on every other week schedule. But we hope you enjoy and we'll have a new episode for you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.